Hi everyone, welcome back to Tableau Training Campaign session number 5. In this session, we are going to learn everything you need to know about maps in Tableau. We will learn to build clear and professional maps in Tableau from basics till advanced level. Actually, I'm going to split this into two different sessions. Session number 5 will be covering, which is today's session, will be covering the basics and intermediate level, and the next session, which is session number 6, will be covering the advanced level. First, we will cover the essential, how to set the correct geographic rules, fix common latitude and longitude issue. Then we will create field maps and points maps as well. Then we'll improve the view, for example, for the points map by using simple if logic for coloring ranges, as I will show you shortly. Then we will build a dynasty heat map, which is used mainly to highlight where the most samples or traffic are exist. Then we'll be covering the map formatting in general. We'll have a specific section about how to make a format for your map, what kind of background maps you have, what kind of map options you also have. Then after that, we will move to the intermediate topics, how to create multiple map view for comparison. For example, if you would like to compare between one operator and another or between different bands, etc. Then we will use a dual axis map to overlay two different layers. And actually this function was being introduced in 2020, and it's actually very limited. It's only limited for 2 layers. That's why in the advanced topics now we'll go for the so-called dual layers where you can have, or map layers where you can have different number of layers from different data sources, and you can have interactive dashboard between all of them. So the next session number 6 will be covering the bottom below topics, which is related to the customer spatial layers, spatial join, layer filters, buffer distance, lines and area calculation, and some extra information. So now let's move forward to see what we have today. So these are the main consideration you should know before you start working with maps in Tableau. And actually you must know, because sometimes you will face kind of tedious problems that you don't understand what's going on. You cannot build a map even you have all the information there. So these are the main consideration. However, whenever you build a map in Tableau, you need 3 main inputs. First one, the background map. This is like what kind of background you would like to have. As you can see from the bottom figure here, the background maps can be kind of dark, street, satellite map, and even you can completely remove the map. And also you can add some customized, not inbuilt, because most of the above is inbuilt options, but also there is a way to add a customized map from Mapbox as an example. So this is the first part about your background map. The second part, which is the most important, it's about the geographic data. The geographic data can be either you are importing a state's name or country, or for example, postal codes or provenance and so on, only giving the name for them, for example, in your data sets as polygons. And these should be matched with whatever we have built in Tableau with the same name. I will show you how to do this and that. This is, for example, one of the most important. So you must map your data with the Tableau data to make sure that you will get the correct information. The second type of geographic data, which is the normal one, which is you just have some points with or polygons with latitude and longitude or geometry, and you are just plotting this one into the maps directly. So you can see, for example, I'm highlighting one problem, or not problem, but yes, and as you can see in the right figure here, you have here latitude 1 and longitude 1. You must see this one geographic rule is being assigned. For example, this one as a green, as you can see here. In case it's not like this, then you need to click on top, right click here, change the geographic rule. For example, if it's latitude, then you need to match it with latitude, and if it's longitude, you need to match it with longitude. So this is the second point here. The third point, it's about the geocoding or spatial information. Actually, means that Tableau needs the spatial boundaries or shapes behind your geographic data. Actually, for example, can be a customized maps or boundaries you are importing as a geometry, as I will be explaining later on, or even built and inbuilt maps in Tableau, for example, giving uh, a specific state name or so on and so forth. So we'll be showing this with practical examples in the next few minutes. So let me give you now a problem statement that you might face if you're going to use my data source, which I'm going to upload it to the video description. For example, in my data source, when I try to upload one of the data source, so the latitude and longitude, it's not very clear, it's very far away here, but the latitude and longitude was coming as a text like ABC. You can see there is ABC text behind here. So it was not being recognized by the Tableau system. So if you're trying to plot your longitude and latitude in this case, it will not work. So if you try to right click here in longitude and latitude to set the specific rule, geographic rule, into latitude and longitude, you will not find this one here. Because before doing this one, you need first to convert latitude and longitude to a decimal number. Once you convert them to decimal number, then the geographic rule will be available. Then you can set the geographic rule to longitude and latitude. Then you can start using your data. So this was a simple problem statement, you will see. So I found that it's worth it to share it because you might either even see the same problem during using your data. Next part, it's about the dataset overview. Actually, if you look, we have 4 different data sets. First one here called CS data. This is like including points, as you can see here. Each point have a speed, different speeds, uplink, downlink, and latency, and so on. The second one is about related to some coverage in the map, coverage points, which will be used for the plotting points in the map and showing with different color ranges and so on. So also this is the same, having longitude, latitude, also coverage and band. You will find different bands here. Then here we have data sets for the fixed map, where I'm going to use a kind of a country, region provenance, and city. I'll not rely on the latitude and longitude. I will rely on the country name just to show you how you can match this with Tableau in case if it's not automatically detected by Tableau. We'll show this by a real example for the field map dataset. The last part, which is related to the sectors and polygon dataset, this one I used it to create the customized site sectors. As you can see, for example, in the right figure here, you have some as you can see in the right side here, you can see some sectors here, site sector being, I draw it here, right in the Tableau maps, using this bottom-down data set. And also the polygons here, which is highlighted with different colors. This is also using the same data set. And these few points, which is many points here highlighted using one of the other data set, which is the first one in the top left here, which is this one. So this is just overview for dataset for your information. And again, I will be uploading all of this in the video description. Now let me give you a quick overview for what we are expecting to get. For example, here, this is an example for the fixed map, where it's being directly mapped to the Tableau. So for example, here, I'm using this kind of map for Saudi Arabia, dividing into different provenance, and each one showing a different speed. Then we are comparing with different operators, for example, what kind of speed we have and what is the speed ranges. For example, the one on the left showing a much better performance compared to the other two, and some variation here and there. So this was a comparison one. Then the second part, it's about the fixed dual axis. So you can have 2 layers. As you can see here, we have one layer for the provenance, per speed. Then we have on top of it the cities, as you can see here, with also different speed, which is the ranges on the right side here. Then we'll be drawing again, as highlighted, the points map, which is different colors. So we'll have 2 methods. First one like this one, we'll get like this one with different, for example, bands, comparing band N1 and band N77. Then we'll give the coverage ranges, for example, starting from -50 and to 104. And this is like directly we got it through dropping the coverage to the color here. And in case if you'd like to draw something customized for a specific legend, so we'll use an if logic to have this kind of figure. to have this kind of optimized figure for the coverage you can have with different ranges here, and even you can do your filter if you would like to do this and that. So this is another point. Then we'll be showing again the same example after adding on top of it kind of different the sector view. Just a quick one of how to add the sectors to the map, and this is will be discussed in more details and advanced level, advanced figure. Then we'll for session number one, we'll be ending through showing how to create a density heat map where you can show where your most samples of traffic are being concentrated in your area. Then in the next session, we're covering again advanced details about, for example, how to do spatial join, how to draw sectors, how to draw a customized polygon, and how to have an interactive map. For example, if I do the filter on the right side here, so you can see this filter is just highlighting the sector and how many points falling under it, and what is the speed for the points, what is the speed for the polygon itself, and so on and so forth. So that's very, very interesting in case if you are working with a big data sets, for example, crowdsourcing data, so you can have a very clear visibility even with a very low granularity, like kind of sector level, or even for polygons. For example, here, this image is detecting that these three polygons here, small polygons or sectors, it's kind of having a very low or very high jitter or latency, as you can see here, while the rest almost are good. So this is like kind of you can identify patterns and a very useful information out of this. So now let's just start with a blank dashboard to see how we can build all of that. So this is the first part. We started with a blank map just to show from scratch how you can upload your data or import your data, then how to start building your data. So the first part, we would like to import our data. So this is actually about building fixed map, which is using the inbuilt related boundaries from Tableau itself. So to import your data, so effectively, there are two methods to import your data, either through dragging and dropping directly to the map here. For example, I have this so-called filled map example inbuilt. This is the one I'm going to use for this particular map creation. So you can just drag it and drop it here. Okay. As you can see, it's directly created this kind of map or data sets here. You see, your data set's now called fixed map example inbuilt. You can rename this as whatever you want. For example, I remove for now the sheet one. Or you can, again, go to the bottom left here. Let me just make this one. Data source, click on data source here. Then you go and, for example, add a connection, or let's assume you would like to add a new data source from scratch. So you need to add the Microsoft Excel here, for example, if your data is Microsoft Excel, or depend your data type. For example, in some cases, you will be adding the JSON file for the sector creation. So this is how we imported the data. So now let's go back to here to start building our chart. So this part, it's very simple. If you look into the data in the left side here, you have tables here, you have all your dimensions. For example, here there is a hierarchy being created automatically by the system. I'll explain also how to create this part, because not every time depend on your name of your dataset name. If your dataset name is not following the standard of Tableau, it will not create an automatic hierarchy. So you will need to do this one in case to do creation by yourself, in case you would like to plot the maps following inbuilt maps from the Tableau. I will show you shortly about this part. Then you have the latency and other information. So simply here, this one, sometimes it will not be there. So let's remove here, remove the hierarchy. So now it will be coming usually like this, in case if you're you don't have your name being set correctly. So you need to create a hierarchy. The hierarchy for this one, it should be starting with country, provenance, for example, postal codes, then the city, depend on what kind of data you have, but this is a breakdown of Tableau. So for example, here I will right click, then you will have a country, then you will go here, make a hierarchy, create a hierarchy here. Then, for example, call it now call it field maps. Okay, whatever you want. Then you need to drag and drop as well the region and provenance. Okay, then the city. The most important, if you look into this area here, you'll find the icons being directly being recognized by Tableau, that these are uh, geographic data. Okay, so in case again if this one is not being recognized, so you need to go back and set left right click here, then make geographic rule. And for example, you know this is for country, you need to make it for country if in case if it's not there. For example, here I'll make this one as a country. Okay, then this one region provenance, then you need to look into here, it's state provenance, which is matching with whatever I'm looking for. The first one was showing country and region, I just change it to country. Then the third one, for example, right click, then you go for the hierarchy here, you'll find sorry, you go to the geographic rule, you'll find this being mapped to the city. So in case you have postcode or whatever else you have, you can do this manual mapping in case, but you need to confirm the mapping is correct. Why? Because simply, if you would like now to draw the map, which is a field map, what you just need to know, you just need to drag and drop this country name, for example, into the detail here. So I will drag and drop the country name into the detail. I don't need it. So for example, if I drag the country name into the details, first of all, it's giving me, as you see, an error below. It didn't plot anything. Let's look into this error in the bottom right. This means that he didn't recognize my maps. So let's click here in the unknown to see what we'll get. So if you click here, you will find this edit location. In this edit location, actually, you can get it from a different place. I will show you how from the maps. This is in case you would like to do some tuning or some audit, but usually if there is a problem in your maps, it will be coming here as unknown, and it will give you how many problems you have. So let's click here in edit location. So if you look into this one, it's saying that the country region is Spain and the state provenance is none. This means actually that I didn't use from the beginning the correct geographic rule. If you remember, I changed the geographic rule for the country. It was automatically set by the system. I changed it from country region to country. So this should be country region actually. So now see, once I changed it to country region, now the system automatically detected this part here. You can see as a 1 point for Saudi Arabia. So to get the field map, you need to go for the marks here, or either from the show me in the top here. So for example, I will go for marks, and I will go for this map here. This is a field maps. If I click this one, it will automatically highlight all Saudi Arabia area here. So just quickly show you again, if you would like to do this edit location, just to verify what kind of information you have now in the edit location, you need to go to the map in the top here, then click in the map, then get the edit location. Then under the edit location, you find now the geographic rule is set as a country region and this country. Then by default, the system having a matching location with internal built data in Tableau through this is my data, which is Saudi Arabia, which is being matching with the location in the Tableau. Sometimes you might need to do a correction even manually here, or to try to match it in your original dataset. So this is first of all how we got this map being filled here. So if, for example, you can drag and drop whatever information you have, as for example, let's assume you have jitter, latency, and you have some speed as well, right? So for example, I would drag and drop here this one into the label here, okay? Then I will tell him I need it as an average, just to see what we'll get. So for example, here it's saying your average latency in Saudi Arabia is 30.44 millisecond. You can, as I told you before, you can modify this one. For example, here, this is the average latency millisecond. I'll say equal to whatever value. Then I can make it bold. Change it, for example, to like this. Then I make, for example, you find average latency millisecond equal 30.44 millisecond. So this is, for example, one example. So now let me remove this one for now. So now what was the use case of having this kind of hierarchy? Why I need it? So now if you would like to have the hierarchy, why I need the hierarchy? Because, for example, if you look into here, you'll have a plus sign under when you drag and drop the country to the detail, you'll have a plus sign here, right? This means that if you would like to go to the next level, like a next category, for example, the breakdown, which is regional provenance, you need to drag and drop. See, once I make this region category, it starts drawing something else here. So let's drag and drop region provenance into color to see what we have. So for example, here it's giving a different colors here, which is the green one is calling for Jazan and this one for Najran. But at the same time, I see here that I'm expecting to get at least this 6 provenance, right, which is Medina, Asir, Eastern Provenance, Jazan, Najran, Riyadh Provenance, right? But I'm only getting 2. So I'm expected to get 7 and 6 or 6. I'm getting only 2. Why? Because if you look down here again, you'll find that there is an error. 5 unknown means that again the system didn't recognize all your information. So this is in case if you would like to use the inbuilt data. So what you need to do, you can either click in a 5 unknown here to make an edit location, or go again to the map in the top and do an edit location. So now you'll find here. This is how it's coming up, saying that first category is the state provenance. Okay, then you have the country region. Country region was Saudi Arabia, now the state provenance. So this is, for example, Medina provenance. So if you like here, it didn't find the same name because your name is not matching with the data. So I need to search, for example, for Medina. For example, here, Al Medina. Let's try to find the same similar name here. So this is the name. So now it's being matched. Same for this one. For search for the same name. As here, for example, you find this one here. Then this one east. Then you find the eastern region, right? This one. Then this one have nothing. Then this one Riyadh. This one. So now if I click, I'm expecting to get now the results for all this. This I have no information here, so I will ignore this one for now. So now this is what we are getting. So let's try to get labels here. And I will drag and drop again the region into the labels just to get the name. So now see, this is Medina province, Riyadh province, Eastern region, Najran, Asir, and Jazan. So now if I would like to get, for example, again, a comparison for see the speed, for example, I would drag and drop into the latency here. So you find this is a sum, so I need to make it an average, which is aggregated value. So for example, this is telling you how much speed you have per provenance. And this is just giving you the provenance name. You can either remove the color here, region, keep it as it is, and you can give, for example, again, drag and drop the latency into the color here, get the color or the legend based on the speed. For example, this is giving the speed based on sorry, based on the latency, giving you different colors here. So this is one example, as you can see here. So this is how you can do that. So you have a next level, which is under this one. If you go again under the details, you have country and you have region, right? So if I take it back, it will just give you Saudi Arabia. If you again click it here, so the next level should be the city. So the city, if you drag and drop, you find it's coming as a single point in the map. Let me make it more larger just see that this map, you see each city is coming was kind of only one point here because the system doesn't have the city's boundaries and so on. So this will just show as a point now. So let's take it back now and just show you one extra information. So now I would like to show you how you can create like comparison between two different, for example, operators or two different whatever bands or whatever. So for example, I have here the operator name, right, and the top here, right? So I can just, if you would like to get a comparison, you can just drag and drop it in the columns. If you drag and drop in the columns, you'll find it splitting your map into operator 1. So you'll have the first map for operator 1, then operator 2. Then you have operator 3, right? So you can easily know which one is getting better. And you can play around with the legend here, right? For example, I need to modify the legend to make it more clear. So I'll click here, edit the color. I can, for example, play around with here. I can make it whatever. For example, I will say take it from this one, for example. So I can make it reverse just to get the red color will be the worst one. So I will just remove now this one. So for example, we know here that the worst is the one on the right? Especially in this particular area, which is called Najran. So this is the first part about the fill maps using the inbuilt one. And again, just to make sure, you need either to match it with from the beginning to get the correct naming following with Tableau, or if you have this kind of unknown problems, you need to match it by yourself. So now let's move the second part about how to get dual axis or dual layer within the map. So now let's start with the filled map, but this time with dual axis. Just to quickly explain what it means by dual axis. Assume that you would like to get two different maps on top of each other, like placing on top of each other. But For example, the second map will be using a different information. This map, for example, is using the provenance. I would like to have another map which is reflecting the city on top of this one, like how many cities and what is the speech for these cities under the provenance. So, and for example, using another stars or whatever icons you would like to have. So how you can do this part here? It's actually very simple. You need just to go for the latitude generated here and just duplicate it. Okay, you can just duplicate it here. But before doing this one, I would like to replace the, the kind of metrics we're using. I'll just need to use the, for example, the throughput. So I'll just double click here in the color. I'll change it to the throughput. I would like to use the throughput. So I will now double click. So you see it changed it, and even this one now starting with 262. And I'll just reverse the color to have the best speed as a green. So now, for example, now it's clear, and same, we'll do the same for the latency. Double click again for the label, I mean. Then you make like this one. So I'm expecting now to enter. Now it's being changed. So now to have a dual axis, you need just to go to the latitude on top here. This one, okay, and just click Control. Then you drag and drop again. So you'll have additional map and bottom down here, right? So now you can see in the right left side here, you have now two maps. One called latitude, and all. This all control both of them. And if you click in this one, you control the first one. If you click in this one, you control the second one. So now I would like to get a different information the second one, right? So I will just make this one. I will just click in latitude. Then under this one, it's opening this map. I would like to convert this one into, first of all, instead of region, I would like to go for the next hierarchy level, which is from region to city, right? So I will just click this plus sign. Then it will change it into city, as you can see in the bottom down here. Now I would like to change the icon. Instead of map, I will just need to change it, for example, to, let's say, circles or a specific shape, depending on whatever you want. For example, I can make it as star, for example, here, or filled points, okay? Whatever you want. This one, as you wish. So, for example, I will make it as this one for now. So I have this shape now. I can even increase the size or reduce the size, depending on whatever you want. Okay, so now I reduce the size a little bit. Then, now I would like to have this one as on top of the other one. So it's very easy. You can just go to again to the latitude here and right click and click dual axis. So you can see now both are coming on top of each other. It's not quite clear because you're using the same color. So you need to reduce, for example, the opacity for the first layer, right? So again, I'll click in the first layer, go to the color range. Under the color range, I can just reduce the opacity here just to start getting it more clear. And you can even play around with the labels. For example, I can drag and drop in the labels the region here, right? Then I will have the region. Then I can play around in the legend. Click here. Just in case you would like to make it more clear, bold. For example, I will change it to 8. Then I change this one to the red color here. So this is for the provenance. And you can do the same for the city. If you would like to get the name of the cities, you can do the same. Click in latitude here, click in labels, but first drag and drop the city into the labels. And let's remove, for this one is here. Then click here again. Let's, for example, next one to the left, bold, and for example, make it 8, and for example, make it blue here. So you will find apply. So now, for example, under, for example, this provenance, you have one city. Under this provenance, you have two cities, right, with a blue color. So this was about how you can create a dual axis map. But remember, this is having a limited options. That maximum dual axis you can have 2 layers only. So that's why the map layers, which will be explained in the advanced topics, is being introduced, because you can have many different layers in the same map from even different data source. This one using the same data source, but the other one, which is advanced next session, will be discussed. Now let's move forward to the next part about how to plot points to the map. So this part will be discussing how you can plot points, and you can give different colors. I would like to use a different data source, so I will go again to the bottom left down here, okay, and open a new data source. So I will go here, then I will go in the top here, this one reflecting the data source, and this one reflecting the connection after the data source. So I can even have additional connection here, or I can have a completely new data source. So what I need to have a completely new data source. So I click here and make a new data source. I need to get an Excel file. Then I will click here. And the data source which I'm going to use is called DT coverage plots. This one, second one. So I will just click this one now. I will just open it. So now it's being plotted again. It's very simple as we had discussed at the very beginning. It's just longitude, latitude, and coverage plot, and even with a specific band here. Okay. So now let's go here. So it's very simple. You have the latitude and longitude, but see what is the problem statement here. The problem statement that latitude and longitude is not being recognized as a latitude and longitude by the system, right? Because if you go back to the data source here, if you look into the type here, if you click in this one here, just click, you'll find the it's being identified as a string. So the geographic rule is not being identified as a latitude and longitude. And even if you try to do geographic rule to assign as latitude and longitude, there is no available option because it's using as a string. So the first part, as I highlighted at the very beginning, you need to convert to decimal. Then you need again to click again, and geographic rule this time, for example, you appear latitude and longitude as you can see here. So you can make it longitude this time. You repeat the same steps for the latitude, then again click, change this one now to your latitude. Let me click here. Okay, so now we have our data clean. Go back here. So the geographic rule now is completely clean. So now you can just double click here, start plotting your map. If you double click, it will see it's coming here directly now. Let me, before plotting the colors and these kind of things, I would like to play around with the formatting. Okay, so if you remember, I was highlighted that we're going to cover the format part. So for example, here in the top here in the map, you can just click here. You'll find that under this one, you have different options: background maps, background images, and background layer and map options. For example, the background maps is very easy. For example, here, if you click normal, if you click streets, outdoor, satellites, or trees. So, for example, I click outdoor. See, the outdoor map background will be start changing, showing as a streets. So this is, you can play around with whatever you would like. You can explore different options. For example, this is satellite, so it will be a black background. So let's take it back now to the outdoors. Okay. The background images, for example, this if you would like to import a specific image. Assume you have IBS site, you have the design for the IBS site, and you would like to show the coverage plot within the IBS site. So you can import the image. This is not our story now here for that part. The background layer is actually, this is in case you would like to remove a specific, for example, the base. You find this removed completely. Streets, for example, you don't want the streets here, and you don't want to have any waters. City's name, for example, you removed it. Points of interest here and there, and so on and so forth. Okay, this is the main idea about that part, and this is the washout you can play around here. And the style, this is the same which we just discussed about the very beginning about the satellites, these kind of things, right? So let's keep it as it is, outdoor now, map. The last part, it's about the map options. Map options, this is, for example, simply if you would like to keep the search icon, for example, which is this icon, let's get it back again. Search icon, for example, here, the top one here, right? You can remove the layer control, and you can have this map scale. If you click this one down here, you'll find now it's showing this kind of feet in the bottom down here, right? This is the scale of the map, 500 feet. And I think you can even make it meters. For example, map options, the unit, you can make it, for example, metric, right? So it can be 200 meters here. So this is about the map option. The second part about the map formatting, you can just search for a specific name here, write whatever you want in the map, or you can zoom in, zoom out here, or you can fix the map. You cannot make any zoom out, zoom in anymore. And you can here zoom in, for example, a specific area. Okay, let's take it out again. Or for example, this one, you would like to move the mouse here and there, so you can just click this one. And the other one, if you would like to select a specific area, so this one here. And again, this one, if you would like to select a specific area about using radial selection or using this called lasso selection, right? So this is about in general, the mapping format. So now let's continue with our mapping plotting basics. So let's now close this one on the top here. So this is very simple. You would like now to get this different colors here for the coverage, right? So You would like just drag and drop this metric into here, right, into the color as we just did before. So you just drag and drop here. So now it's showing the coverage. Now I'd like to do it as an average because this should be an average point. Okay. And now I would like to do one important point, which is I right click here and I make the edit color again as I did before. So I will again do it from this color. So the worst will be the, we need to reverse it because the worst is the 104 and even wing bar. So now that's points. Now assume that you would like to make it more solid, clear, or more beautiful. So you need to play around with different things. For example, you can play around again with the color, play around with the opacity, and before the opacity, let's go back here. For example, the border, I would like to have no border. For example, here, see, or this is a white border or none. So now it's none. I would like this halo effect to be none as well, right? So it's coming better now. I would like to reduce the size a little bit, like this. And the opacity, for example, here, like this. Yeah, so you can just keep increase the step color ranges or reduce the step color ranges, use full color ranges as you go, as you wish, what you want to do exactly. It's up to you about the format. So, yeah, so this is about the editing. You can play around with whatever you want. And for example, if you click here, it will show you the points. You can select whatever you want, as we last discussed. Additional part, for example, in this data, we have the so-called band in the top here, right? So this band, for example, if I drag and drop it in the columns, so it will split my map into whatever data we have under the band. So under the band, I have in one, I have N77. So you can have a coverage comparison between both of them. For example, here, it's quite clear that we don't have any coverage here, while we have kind of coverage here. The coverage here is more bad, as you can see, compared to the coverage in this area. So visually, it's very clear, and you can even select a specific area, create a set, right click, create a set, for example, and to make a comparison for this specific area as another metric, CDF or whatever you are looking for. Okay, so this was the first part about the how to plot points. The second part about how to plot points, I would like to show you, for example, how you can get this one with different, if you would want to have something customized with a legend, how you can do this one with a simple if logic. So now let's move to this part. So now I just duplicated again the same map. Now I will remove the color, and I would like to get a specific ranges for the RSRP using this NR RSRP DBM metric, right? So again, you need to do something called, if you go to click here, okay, you click here, you need to make a calculated field, create a calculated field, and already created the field. So I called it, for example, NR RSRP ranges, like for example, yeah, ranges, legend. Then this is saying, this is, I have it into four ranges. The first range is saying if you have F, the coverage less than 100, give a legend as a 100 dBm, worse than 100 dBm. If it's else F, for example, less than 90, so it will be from 90 to 100, 80 to 80 to 90, else it will be 80 dBm, better than 80 dBm. So if you click apply now, you'll find this metric being created here as ABC, and you'll find this equal sign. Equal sign means that this is a calculated field. So it's very simple. You need just to drag and drop here to the color. So you'll find now it's coming with different colors, and this here is a legend on the top here. And you can just edit the legend either by right clicking here and edit the color. For example, I would like to keep the best one as green. And for example, this one I can play around again with greens. I will take this one as like this one, for example, and I will take this one as, let's keep it orange as it is. For example, orange, or yeah, this, for example, this one. You can play around with whatever you want. It doesn't look very beautiful, but this is, you can play around with the color as you wish, okay? And the order here, you can manually drag and drop if you want to change the order in the legends, so drag and drop here and there, okay? So then this can be customized as whatever you want. We can even increase based on editing the formula here. For example, this one, right click here, edit, edit the formula as you wish again. And again, you can filter in a specific range by, this is giving a possibility to filter whatever you want for a specific coverage range. As you can see, it's highlighted the range from -90 to 100 to have a bit of visualization and more control over your map chart, right? So now let's move to the next part, which is about the same subject, but now this time I will give you a quick introduction of how we can have a dual layer or a multi-layers and importing, for example, the sector information here into this one before, and this will be covered in details in the advanced session, but I would like to have a quick session here about that part in the same map. So now let's get the same figure using a different method. And the main target here that we would like to have a tool map layers using the map layers function, which is going to be introduced in details in the next session number 6 in advanced mapping. So actually, whenever you would like to have a map layer, you cannot do it with a normal latitude and longitude. So you need first to remove latitude and longitude for now, and you need to calculate something called geometry. Okay, the geometry is simply a one field that contains the shape. Okay, it's not just a coordinates, and this shape can be points, can be lines, can be balloons, can be anything. But the map dual or the map layers just work with shapes. So for example, if I would like to add now the points, and on top of the points I need to have another layer which is the sectors, so you should deal with something called geometry. So in case if your data set doesn't support your geometry, doesn't have your geometry there, which is a combination of latitude and longitude, then in this case you need to create a calculated field again to represent your geometry here. So you can just click here again, and let me remove this one, and just here make a calculated field, call it geometry. Okay, then there is a formula called make point. Then you need to add the latitude, the one you have it in your dataset already, and longitude. Okay, these two. You can just click OK. Once you see now it's being created, then you can, because this is a combination of the longitude and latitude, so it's similar to what we're doing for the field map now. So you need to drag and drop this one now to the details here. Okay. So once I drag and drop into the details, you find that still nothing being appearing here. It's just showing down here. You can see 4 marks, and it's because I have the legend, and this one counted as only 1 mark. So let's remove the legend for now. Okay. Then it's just coming like this one. So now so far, because here I was using first of all the shape, right? So I need to convert this one to map. Then also I need to click again and show me here and convert this one to a map view. Okay. So now see it's coming as a map view here. Yes, but if you look down here, you'll find that so far it's considering this complete points as only one shape. Even if you try to filter, see, it's just showing as one shape because it's just considering as one point. So in case you would like to have all the data points, you need to drag and drop, for example, latitude, longitude, or any of the your data points into the details. For example, I drag and drop this one here. So you will find that this one, for example, I converted to dimension. Okay. Or better to directly, for example, drag and drop the latitude and longitude to the detail here. You'll find the 1 mark, before it was 1 mark, now it become 6,004 marks, which is mean this one now, each one of these counted as a one separate point. For example, this one 1 point, 2 points, and so on. So for example, if you filter it, this is 513 out of 6,004. So this is how you can make this one. Then simply you can again drag and drop your legend again here, calculate legend to the color, right? So you will start getting your legend. You can modify again as we discussed in the previous one, how to you can modify in the color or the ranges and so on. Okay, but now the most important, what if you would like now to get the additional layer here, which is the sector. So in this case, I need to add additional data set. You can either to drag and drop it here or to import it again from data source here. Okay. So this time I would like to add a new data source. So I'll click here, then I'll click new data source. So I need to select the special file here. Okay. Then under a special file, you'll find two files being created before called sectors per band and customized polygon. So for now, I need the sector. And again, I created this from using the QGIS and export it into JSON format. So I need just to double click this one now. So you'll find now both files are becoming here in the files was under the same format, customize and sector, but my data now new data source called sector per band GeoJSON file. And here is how it looks like. It's like kind of latitude, longitude, and you'll find directly it's having the geometry being added here. Okay. So now if I go back here, and I would like now to plot the sectors on top of this one. So here I have three data sources on the top here. You can see, all right. I would like now to use the sector band one, which is a new one here. Currently, this green, this means I'm using the highlighted by the mark green. So I would like to use a sector band here. So what I need to do, see this geometry, which is being calculated. If it's not there, it should be there because you are using a spatial file. Then you can do it using the same formula I discussed, make point. Then you just need to click this one, drag and drop it. Once you drag and drop it here, you'll find that there is something called add a marks layer, right? So if you drag and drop it here, you'll find now your sector is coming appearing, and even in the here you'll find a new icon coming here, which is called layer control. You have two geometry layers here, and even down here you have the first layer and second layer, and you can even rename them whatever you want, and even you can change the order to drag and drop. For example, here I change the order. For example, I give this one down here, so they will replace each other. I removed the one already, so I will just go back. So this you can change the order. So for example, this now this one is coming bottom the bottom. The sector is coming below the point, so I need to drag and drop it, and I need to get it higher than the point. So I need here. So let's see. So you see now it's being changed. It's coming as above the points. And this one is again showing as a single shape. But if you'd like to have it a separate, you can, for example, drag and drop the lowest granularity. For example, in my data, I have this so-called code 2, which is a sector ID. You can drag it to the level. So now you'll find that it's just per sector now. And this color reflecting different bands. You can play around with the bands. Again, under this one, you can drag and drop the frequency band. So for example, here I have different bands. You can filter whatever you wish just to see whatever you need to see here. But this is how you can get a quickly dual layer, a map layer using the map layer, which I will discuss in more details in the next section, in the advanced section. This was just a quick overview to have a complete figure about mapping points with sectors. So now let's move to the last part in this session, which is about the heat map or density map. So now let's start with the last part about the heat map or density map. So it's very quite simple. I am using now a new data source. I already uploaded this data source, which is called CS data, and this is using Excel file. This is including more than 18,000 points in the map. So you'll find this data in the video description as well. So it's very simple. You need just to, again, drag and drop latitude and longitude, which is using the correct geo rule, right? Then you just need drag and drop, just double click. Initially, it will be coming, as you can see, as a single point, even the marks down here, it's having one mark, right? So why the reason? Because it's coming as aggregated value, right? This is using, if you click here, using an average. So it's just all the points being aggregated into a single point. So you can either convert this one into dimension or go to the top here for the analysis part and convert this one to remove the aggregated measure. Okay, so it will give you all the points on the map. So now I would like to convert this one into a density area or a heat map where it's reflecting where the highest number of samples being reflected on the map. So to do this without adding any metrics, you can just simply go to the marks here under automatic and click it, then change this one to density, as you can see. Once you have a density, it will be coming as this figure now. It's not quite clear because you need to do some editing here. So the first edit you need to go is in the color itself. You need to first change the color. I would recommend to use the temperature diverging because it's just showing from green to red, and red is the highest number of concentration of samples. So now, for example, I changed this one. It's still showing that most majority is green and just one small area is red and orange, right? So in this case, you need to change the intensity, which is this area here, make it 100. Okay, you'll find now start getting this kind of a good visualization that this area having a high concentration, And for example, if you'd like to reduce or increase the cell radius of the aggregating value, for example, in the area where they are saying how many points we have within this area. So, for example, I can reduce the size a little bit. You'll find that start changing. That, for example, the areas with more green or more red start decreasing. For example, if I increase a little bit, it will start increasing because it's just increasing the radius where they're doing this kind of heat map of count and so on and so forth. So by default, if you didn't use any metric in the color range, it will reflect the highest density. So you can also do the same method. For example, if you would like to reflect the area with highest speed or highest or worst latency, you can drag and drop whatever metric you would like to do. For example, if I drag and drop the throughput here, so I'm expecting to get more red wires. See, it's cutting more red because initially, if you right click, you find the throughput is coming as a sum. So if you look into this measure now, it's saying here you have 1,325 and you have a 19 only. So that's why it's the sum. But if you again change it to the count, it will go back to the previous image, because in the previous image, without using any metric, it was considering the areas with the highest count. So, for example, this is in case you would like to use a specific metric to reflect in your heat map. And actually, it's also sample about the density map as well. And in case if you'd like to replicate again the whole map with different metrics as a multiple map, as I mentioned before, you just control and latitude or longitude and just duplicate it here and there. See, it will be start duplicating here, so you can play around with whatever you want, as we discussed in the very beginning. So yeah, that's all about today's video. I hope if you like the content to press like and to share the video with your friends and colleagues, and see you in next video. Thank you very much.